السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله يا ايها الذين امنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن الا وانتم مسلمون يا ايها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحده وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والارحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما وإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As you go across different cities or different masajids even and different people, you can't help but to notice that there's a certain level of anxiety, stress built in all of us really. So what I want to do today, inshallah, is handle that subject. And of course, it's a very delicate subject, and my usual disclaimer, don't treat a khutbah like a seminar or like a workshop. It's not intended to be that way. Inshallah, you like something, you take it as a nugget, and you go research into it. So in order to tackle this subject, we're going to talk about one ayah first, and then we're going to give modern-day analogy. And the ayah is, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. And we should probably memorize this ayah alone, because this ayah says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you, me, us, where we will be continuously bombarded with mushkila al-musibah one after the other, with trials and tribulations one after the other, stress one after the other, anxiety phases after phases. Now, of course, everybody's stress and everybody's anxiety is very different. Some of us wonder, okay, what's going to happen to the future of our children and all this stuff. Some of us are wondering, hey, that friend backstabbed me, or even my hijab is not matching for the sisters. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say what type of stress, right? So to each one of us, stress is subjective. But the idea of stress is rampant. We're all stressed. So what this ayah, again, what the translation of this ayah is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to continuously bury you under test after test. So now let's give a modern day analogy to understand what this ayah means. So for those who are serious about their career, serious about life, they want to get successful, they want to make money, etc. Imagine a person who just got the job as an analyst, fresh out of school, and he goes to his boss, he says, can you make me the VP tomorrow? The analyst is going to laugh in their face. Or a teacher, hey teacher, I know the material, just give me 90%. I know it, I promise I know it, I'm telling you I know it. You guys know what's going to happen. And the analyst always is going to say, hey, I want the CEO job. I'm talking about those who want it. Oh, because when I get there, blah, blah, blah. Because they don't understand. Once you become the CEO, it comes with different problems, different stresses that you don't know about. So for those who are on that track, you'll notice that they continuously get promotion after promotion. And that promotion equals to more stress after on top of each other, more responsibility on top of each other. So even in order for you to get a promotion or you get an exam, it requires work. It requires tension, it requires anxiety, it requires stress. In other words, success equals to mushkila, musiba, and sabr. If you want success, it's mushkil, musiba after musiba, problem after problem, stress after stress. Then you will get the reward of the promotion and the money. Now let me parallel that to how Islam works. Just because you say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, is the teacher giving you 100% because you say that? So why do we expect something different from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's why Prophet ﷺ tells us in Sahih Bukhari that in fact, if you want a promotion, if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to like you, one of the things is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to keep testing you. He's going to keep testing you. That's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. In other words, promotion and success in the akhirah equals mushkila, musiba, and stress. That's the parallel. So much so, this is such a problem, that so much so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes to us what the first words out of our mouth is going to be when we get into Jannah. It's not going to be, man, nice mansions, wow, look at how big it is, or look at how the rivers flow, look at all this. And for the men, I know we're going to say something else. But that's not what we say. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the first words out of our mouth is going to be, alhamdulillah, finally, no more stress. That's the first words out of our mouth. So what does that mean now? Some of us believe, and unfortunately there's pros and cons to everything in this dunya, right? Social media, amazing stuff, it could do amazing things for a lot of people. But one of the things that it does is it amplifies people's good times and hides people's bad times. So the person who's going through something is going to look at a YouTube video and is going to say, oh man, I wish I had that house, that money, that wife, that spouse, that children, whatever it is. And is now going to compare, as now he's going to feel worse because he believes or she believes that their life is going amazing and my life is going like crap. In fact, if you kind of do the analysis of how we define success, in our definition, Fir'aun would be the most successful in history. Fir'aun's definition, our definition of success would fit Fir'aun to the T. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us in the Quran, Fir'aun couldn't even sleep. He used to get nightmares. So just put it in perspective. So what I mean when I say this is, when we say, hey man, I wish I had a stress-free life, my brothers and sisters, please digest this. There is no such thing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make you that way, didn't make me that way. If you want a stress-free life, Jannatul Firdaus. So you gotta want the promotion. The question is, how bad do you want the promotion? Now, what we're going to try to do is try to hit on a few myths that are about stress and then a few pointers to help us, inshallah. So a couple of things. So first and foremost, understand that your iman is not correlated with the amount of that you believe problems exist in your life. So problems do not equate to low iman or high iman. They are not correlated. Don't feel that because you're getting tested that your iman is high or iman is low. Irrelevant. Especially because it's human nature sometimes, when we feel like everything is going wrong, sometimes because we'll have nobody to blame to, we'll blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or what did I do wrong, Ya Rab? Because musibah, think about it, right? Because if it was that, then Prophet ﷺ would be the worst person on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would hate him. Why? Because just look at his life. He was orphaned 3 times by the time he's 8. 3 times. We can't even leave our children at home with cameras and we feel so scared. 3 times. Prophet ﷺ was not modern day language. There were sanctions put on him by his own family. Own family, blood. And what's every parent's nightmare, right? Every parent's nightmare is what? That they have to bury their children. And for those who are not fathers right now, you're never going to understand. But Prophet ﷺ buried 6 of his 7 children. So if you want to compare iman and problems, the Prophet ﷺ would be the worst. So tell yourself that when there's a musibah coming, you hear about it coming, or you're handling it, it has nothing to do with your iman. Nothing. Point number 1. Dispel this myth out of your brain. Point number 2. Just because you have iman or you say la ilaha illallah doesn't mean you're supposed to be heartless. Doesn't mean you can't cry. Doesn't mean you can't be sad. Doesn't mean you don't get mad. Doesn't mean that has nothing to do with your feelings. Our body is reactive in its own. Some of us, we react by crying. Some of us react by laughing. Some of us want to be alone. Some of us want to be with people. Doesn't matter. Some of us cry easily. Some of us cry harder. Doesn't matter. Just because you have iman, just because you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mean you can't cry. When Prophet ﷺ went to the grave of his mom, he cried profusely. Profusely. And the Sahabas even asked him, he said, Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rab, Ya Rasulullah, you too? So understand that iman, is not correlated with what you're going through, good or bad. Just because you're rewarded in the dunya doesn't mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes you. And just because you're being punished, or you're in your eyes being punished, doesn't mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates you. This is just how it is. Now let's talk about when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us and not gave us, right? Usually, stress happens from 2 things, right? Usually it happens from 2 things. It happens from the absence of something or from the possession of something. That's usually how it works. For example, the easiest example is money, right? Those who don't have money are constantly stressed about getting the money. And those who have the money are constantly stressed about losing the money, right? And the person who doesn't have always believes that somehow the person who has no stress in his life. And the person who has also believes the same thing, that the person who doesn't have don't have the stresses in their life. So my brother, remember, having money is stress. Not having it is also stress. Awlad, same thing. People who can't have children, they will go to the nth degree to have children, and because they believe that children will bring them happiness. And they look at others saying, oh, those guys have children, I want children. But they don't know. There's stress of having children. There's stress if you don't have children, and there's stress if you have children. So regardless, if you have whatever it is, so for example, even now, right now we're worried about telling our children about the LGBTQ stuff. Meanwhile, there's parents in Palestine who are trying to tell their kids, hey, what happens if I die? So understand, even stress, even life itself, have it, stress. Don't have it, you cause stress to the other people. So everything in life just comes with that. So we have to absorb that and understand it has no indication of how good or bad your iman is. And last point, iman is not designed to fix your problem. So if you get laid off from work, for example, and you start praying, all of a sudden you're not going to get a call from Google and say, hey, I heard you're fired, come work for me. That's not what iman is designed to do. Iman is designed to equip you to handle it. For example, when Aisha radiallahu anha, when the whole thing happened with the rumor, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that the rumor wasn't true, it didn't stop the people from still saying the rumor. So all of a sudden, lightning didn't strike, and hey, you don't say it, you don't say it. It didn't work like that. All it did is he equipped Aisha radiallahu anha to say, I don't care about those people. And Prophet ﷺ was, I don't care about those people. That's what iman does. It allows you to handle and battle your stress. It allows you to really think about it, put yourself together, and understand that this is part of life, fact of life. You got to, as they say, suck it up. But it also means sometimes you need professional help. It also means that just because you have some type of health issue with regards to your mental stability doesn't make you someone who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despises. That's just something you have to deal with. So you have to swallow your pride and go to seek help. So it doesn't mean that your iman and all of a sudden because you got on the musalla that all of a sudden your problems are going to be solved. It just equips you to be able to handle it. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. So now that we've at least dispelled a few myths, what are the Quranic remedies? What are the Islamic remedies to deal with these things? But before I get into that, I want to make sure that I explain something. When someone is overweight and the doctor told them you got to lose weight, in other words, they now have a mushkila. They can't expect to go on the treadmill. Even if they go on the treadmill for 24 hours, they're not dropping 100 pounds. Right? You have to adopt the lifestyle in order for the remedy to work. If you don't want to be, stricken with these diseases that relate to overweight, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to build it a lifestyle. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So, for example, the person who's diabetic and who's prone to diabetes, whose family has diabetes, whose culture has diabetes, just now that they have to rely on insulin, there's no magic potion. Had you realized before and built it into your lifestyle, this wouldn't have happened. So Islamic remedies are prevention, not cure. Please understand this. Islamic remedies are prevention, not cure. Okay, it's not about you quitting smoking when you're close to dying. It's about not smoking in the first place. That's why khamr, and that's why these things are haram. It's not just because you take a drop it's haram. It's because the future that what it can cause you. That's why when they say la tatabi'u khutuwati shaitan, that's like saying, hey, I'm just going to talk to a girl and I'm not. So it's prevention, not cure. So now let's talk. With that being said, let's talk about the prevention. The first prevention is to dig deep. To dig deep and check your iman. Why do you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why are you saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah? Is it because your parents were Muslim? Or is it because you truly believe? You really have to ask yourself that question. Check your iman. Check your iman. Check your life. Check your lifestyle. It's one thing about eating halal. Do you live halal? You know how sometimes we go to the restaurant, we're going to check their certificate, who signed it, where is it from, we're going to call it, we're going to research them, who funded them, who did this and who did that. But we don't do that to ourselves. We don't do that to ourselves. We're going to be sitting here eating halal, but we're going to be beating our wife. Right? There's no correlation. You have to examine your life. Don't just treat, by the way, just so you guys know, there is opinion you could eat Ahl Kitab. So you're treating a minor thing. You're not eating halal, but you're beating your wife, or you're beating your children, or you're rude to or you're in bad financial transactions. Oh, but you're eating halal. Is your life halal? Examine yourself, examine your iman. When you do that, at the same time, as a part of that examination, if you call yourself a Muslim, are you following the job description? Because if you don't follow the job description at work, guess what? You're fired. But alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, as long as we're breathing, we can correct ourselves. So are you following the job description? Are you praying 5 times a day? If you're praying 5 times a day, are you praying in the masjid? If you're praying in the masjid, are you praying your sunnah? How is your job? Is it halal? Is it coming from halal means? How are you treating your family? How are you treating your friends? What are you doing outside? When salah comes and there's a NBA finals or cricket finals, what are you doing? Examine yourself. Be the same critic you are to that restaurant, and you say, oh, Zabiya halal, machine halal, whatever. Be that same critic to yourself. Number 3, get dependent on sujood. Dependent on sujood. Something bad happens, drop sujood. Something good happens, drop sujood. So that way you can understand that everything that is coming to you, good or bad, is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So get dependent on sujood. Again, this is not cure, this is prevention. It equips you to handle the stress. And by the way, for those who want success, your ability to handle stress is what's going to give you the dunya, inshallah. Your ability to deal with stress. So depend on sujood. Buy your first car, sujood. Same car got an accident, sujood. Depend on sujood. Even if everybody's watching, who cares? You know how many people converted just because they saw people doing sujood? Just have that in your mind. You know how many stories there are of just someone seeing someone pray in TTC? Have that, and but if you're not comfortable, doesn't matter. Make a note, when you go home, do sujood. Be dependent on sujood. Whatever number that was, 4. If you can't get used to praying tahajjud, start praying duha. Of course, tahajjud is the best thing. Why is tahajjud the best thing? What do they say? It's what you do when people are not watching that counts. So all the youngins, they want to quote Steph Curry, but they don't know that he takes 500 shots a day to make what? 30 shots in a game. That's what tahajjud means. But if you can't do it, do duha, which is usually 10-20 minutes after sunrise up until 10-20 minutes before the dhuhr starts. Start with that. Start investing into your good deed account. And try to look at whatever the best reward is and do that. And lastly, there's a lot of ways to make the right dua. And you don't have to make it in Arabic. You could be a walking, talking dua machine. Ya Rab, forgive me. Astaghfirullah. Forgive me. I did this. Forgive me. I did that. Forgive me. I reacted in a certain way. Forgive me. I did this to that person. Forgive me. Walking, talking dua. But there are few du'as you can recite that are from the sunnah that make it even more powerful. Understand them. Inject them into your children. And there's ways to do that. There's nowadays, my brothers, when we were growing up, we didn't have this. Now there's nasheeds who you can play for your children over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then they'll just memorize it. So one of those du'as is, I'm going to tell you in English, but Allah, your dua is, Ya Rab, please watch over me, even when my eyes are blinked. And just please handle my affairs. That's the dua you can make. Ya Rabbi, just watch over me. Even when my eyes are blinked. Tarafar aini. Even when my eyes are blinked. And please watch over my affairs. So homework. This dua, by the way, there's a nasheed. I'm going to promote this guy. Sayyid Allahumma. Play this for your children 50 times. So they understand that when it's time to cope with stress, this is the dua you got to make. And insha'Allah, it is a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who want to seek Him, He will come to you. Those who seek sabr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you sabr. Those who promise to stay firm on La ilaha illallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep you firm on La ilaha illallah. The byproduct, by the way, is that you will achieve amazing things in this dunya. Inshallah, we have the next Steve Jobs in here. We have the next president in here. As long as you know how to handle stress. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم فادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر الله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله. Brothers, can you raise your hand if there's space in the back? All right, so please, brothers who are outside, come in the masjid. Fill up the masjid so استقيموا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه أنا صببنا الماء صبا ثم شققنا الأرض شقا فأنبتنا فيها هبا وعنبا وقضبا وزيتونا ونخلا وحدائق غلبا وفاكهة وأبا متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Assalamu alaikum everybody. As you may have seen the signs, there's a big conference happening inshallah at the National Center. A lot of cool speakers. The theme is going to be literally, how do you see the future as Muslims in the West? So there's a lot of cool speakers coming. Some of them we all follow. So please, if you haven't register now and make sure you attend inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
That's with traffic. Is it not?
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Please help to roll up the carpet. Please help to roll up the carpet in the gym area. Jazakallah.
More down Bronte area.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Please help to roll up the carpet. Please help to roll up the carpet in the gym area. Jazakallah.
Their money comes.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Please help to roll up the carpet. Please help to roll up the carpet in the gym area. Jazakallah, brother.